The plan wasn't meant to change anyone's life. It was just an outing, a simple college trip organized after weeks of exhausting classes, endless assignments and half-finished conversations. 10 students, 5 girls and 5 boys decided to escape the noise of the city and spend a day somewhere, quiet, somewhere untouched, somewhere peaceful. Meher had said hello, and that is how they ended up traveling miles, away from everything they knew, deep into the hills, where the roads grew narrower, the air cooler, and time itself seemed to slow down. The journey. Laughter filled the van as music played in the background. Ayan argued with Zoya about song choices. Danish kept cracking jokes. No one fully understood, but everyone laughed at anyway. Cameras clicked. Snacks were passed around. Someone spilled juice, someone shouted. And in the middle of all of it, Meher sat by the window, quiet, watching the world blur past her. She wasn't antisocial. She just felt things more deeply than others. The way sunlight touched the hills. The way silence settled between sounds. The way moments slipped away too quickly. She didn't know it yet, but this trip would change everything. The place. After hours of travel, they arrived. It wasn't a typical tourist spot. No crowded stalls, no loud music, no people rushing from one place to another. Just a vast open landscape. Rolling green hills. A quiet lake reflecting the sky. Tall trees swaying gently in the breeze. And silence. Beautiful, overwhelming silence. This place is unreal, Zoya whispered. It feels like we are in another world. Someone added. Meher didn't say anything. She just smiled. The stranger. They spread blankets, unpacked food, and started exploring. Some went toward the lake. Some stayed back, setting up music. Some wandered into the trees. Meher chose to walk alone. Not too far, just enough to feel the quiet. That is when she saw him. He was standing near the edge of the lake, barefoot. His reflection broken by the soft ripples of water. He wasn't doing anything special, just standing, but there was something about him, something calm, something different. He turned slightly as if he sensed her presence. Their eyes met. For a second, everything else disappeared. First words. You are not from here, he said. His voice was calm, certain. Meher blinked. Is it that obvious? He smiled faintly. People who belong here don't. Look at it like they're seeing it for the first time. She didn't know why, but she smiled back. I guess I am seeing it for the first time. And what do you think? She looked around. The lake, the hills, the quiet. Then back at him. It feels real. He nodded. That S because it is. Who he was. His name was Aariz. He lived there. Not in a big house, not in a city, but in a small home hidden behind the trees near the hills. This place isn't just somewhere I live. He said it is who I am. Meher didn't he laugh, didn't he question it? Because for the first time, she understood exactly what he meant. Something begins. They talked. At first about simple things. Where she came from, why they chose this place, how long they were staying. But slowly, the conversation changed. It became deeper, real. He spoke about peace, she spoke about feeling lost. He spoke about staying, she spoke about always leaving. And somewhere between those words, something shifted. The pull? Back at the picnic, her friends were calling her. Meher, come back. Where did you go? But their voices felt distant, faded, like noise from another world. Because standing there, with Aariz, she felt something she had never felt before. Not excitement, not attraction. Something stronger, something quieter, something that felt like belonging. The moment. Will you go back? Aariz asked suddenly. Meher hesitated. I don't know. He looked at her, not surprised. People always go back, he said softly. They have lives waiting. She swallowed. But what if someone doesn't want to go back? Aariz didn't answer immediately. He just looked at the lake. Then said, then they have to choose. The choice beginning of conflict. As the sun began to set, her friends gathered their things. The van was ready. Voices called out again. Meher, we're leaving. She stood still, her heart racing, her mind torn between two worlds. Behind her, the life she knew. In front of her, something she didn't understand but felt deeply. Come on, Meher, Ayan shouted. We were getting late. She looked at Aariz, then at her friends, then back at him. And in that moment, she made a decision that would change everything. The refusal. I am not coming back. Silence. Everyone froze. What? Zoya laughed nervously. Stop joking. I am serious. Her voice didn't shake. I don't want to go back. Meher, this isn't funny, Danish said. We have to leave. You go, she said quietly. I am staying. The group stared at her, confused, shocked, unbelieving. With him, Ayan asked. She nodded. The air grew heavy. Nothing felt like a joke anymore. Because this was real, and she had chosen. The silence that followed her words was heavier than anything they had felt all day. I am not coming back. It echoed not just in the air, but inside each of them. For a moment, no one moved. No one spoke. Then, have you lost your mind? Ayan stepped forward, his voice sharp. Disbelief written all over his face. Meher, this isn't funny anymore. I am not joking, she replied calmly. That calmness, it scared them more than anything. The shock. Zoya grabbed her arm. Meher, stop it. Enough, we need to leave before it gets dark. Meher gently pulled her hand away. I am staying. With a stranger, Danish asked, his tone somewhere between anger and fear. You don't even know him. I do? No, you don't, Ayan snapped. You met him, what, an hour ago? Time doesn't decide everything, she said quietly. Aariz stays silent. All eyes turned toward Aariz. He hadn't moved. Hadn't he interrupted? Hadn't he tried to convince her? He simply stood there watching. Calm, composed, as if he knew this moment would come. You, Ayan pointed at him. Say something. Tell her this is insane. Aariz finally spoke. I didn't ask her to stay. His voice was steady. She chose it. Tension rising. That's even worse, Danish said. You're just letting her throw her life away. Aariz's expression didn't change. You think staying here is throwing life away, he said. That is your perspective. And what's yours, Ayan challenged. Aariz looked at Meher. Sometimes leaving is the argument. Meher, think about your parents, Zoya, said her voice breaking slightly. What are we supposed to tell them? The question hit harder than anything else. For the first time, Meher hesitated. Images flashed in her mind. Her mother's smile, her father's quiet pride. Her room, her life. Everything she had known, everything she was expected to return to. Her chest tightened. But then she looked at Aariz, and that feeling came back. That strange, undeniable pull. I'll explain to them, she said softly. You can just explain this, Ayan shouted. You are choosing a stranger over your entire life. I am choosing myself. The line that changed everything. Those words. They landed like a storm. No one had expected that answer. Not from Meher. Not from the quiet girl who always went along with everything. Since when Danish asked quietly, she took a deep breath. Since I realized I've been living a life that never felt like mine. Ayan's breaking point. Ayan ran his hand through his hair, frustrated. This is crazy, he muttered. This place, this guy, it's messing with your head. No, she said. It's the first time my head is clear. Time running out. The sky was getting darker. The driver honked from the van. We have to leave, Zoya said urgently now. She stepped closer to Meher, her voice softer now. Please, don't do this. For a moment, it looked like Meher might give in. Her eyes filled with conflict. Her heart pulled in two directions. Her past, her present, her fear, her truth. The final decision. Aariz didn't say anything. He didn't reach out, didn't try to stop her, because he understood. This choice had to be hers. Completely, Meher closed her eyes, took a deep breath, and when she opened them, there was no hesitation left. I am staying. Goodbye. That didn't feel like one. Zoya started crying. This isn't right, she whispered. Danish shook his head disappointed. Ayan looked at her one last time. You're going to regret this. Maybe, but not today. The departure? One by one they walked back to the van. No one looked back. Except Zoya. She turned once, tears in her eyes. Come back, please. Meher didn't move. The van door shut. The engine started, and just like that, her old life began to drive away. After they left, the silence returned. But this time, it felt different. Not peaceful. Heavy. Real. You can still go, Aariz said quietly. Meher watched the van disappear into the distance, then shook her head. No? The reality sets in. Do you even know what this means? He asked. She looked at him. No? Good, he said. Because this isn't a story. It's not easy. It is not perfect. I don't want perfect, she replied. I want real. A new beginning or a mistake. Aariz studied her for a moment, as if trying to understand her choice, as if weighing something unspoken. Then he nodded slightly. Then stay. The first step into a new life. He turned and began walking toward the trees. Didn't check if she was following. Didn't he ask again? Because now it was her decision. Meher took one last look at the empty road. at the place where her world had just disappeared. And then she turned and followed him. The trees grew thicker as Meher followed Aariz. With every step, the world she knew felt farther away. The laughter of her friends had faded. The sound of the van was gone. Even the open sky was slowly disappearing behind branches and shadows. All that remained was silence. And him into the unknown. "You are very quiet," Aariz said without turning. Meher let out a soft breath. "I think everything just feels unreal right now." "It will," he replied, "for a while." "How long?" He paused for a moment. "Until it doesn't, he." That answer, it didn't comfort her. But strangely, it didn't scare her either. The hidden home. After a few minutes, the trees opened into a small clearing. And there it was. A simple wooden house. Not big, not fancy, but beautiful in its own way. Wildflowers surrounded it. A small lantern hung by the door. A narrow path led to the entrance, as if only a few people had ever walked it. "This is your home?" Meher asked softly. Aariz nodded. "It's not much." She shook her head. "It's everything? A different kind of life." Inside the house was even simpler. A wooden table, 2 chairs, a bookshelf filled with worn-out pages, a window that opened to the hills. No television, no distractions, no noise. Just peace. "You really live here alone?" she asked. "Yes, always. Mostly." There was something in his tone, something he didn't fully say. But Meher didn't he push? "Not yet." Night falls. The sky darkened quickly. Out here, there were no city lights to soften the night. Only the moon, only the stars. And for the first time in her life, Meher saw the sky the way it truly was. Endless, quiet, almost overwhelming. "It's beautiful," she whispered. Aariz stepped outside looking up. "Most people never really see it," he said. They were too busy looking down. The first doubt. They sat outside in silence. For a while, everything felt right. Too right. And that is when the doubt came. Suddenly, sharp, unavoidable. What if they were right? Her voice was barely above a whisper. Aariz didn't look at her. About what? She hesitated. About this being a mistake. Truth without comfort. Aariz didn't rush to answer. Didn't try to reassure her. Instead, he said something unexpected. "It might be..." Meher turned to him, surprised. "You're not going to tell me I made the right choice." He finally looked at her. "No?" Why didn't he stop her? "Why didn't you stop me?" she asked. "If you think this could be a mistake, why didn't you tell me to go back?" Aariz's expression softened slightly. "Because some choices," he said quietly, "you have to make yourself, and if I regret it, then it will still be yours." The weight of freedom. That answer stayed with her, because for the first time, she realized something important. No one forced her. No one convinced her. She chose this. Completely, and that made it beautiful, but also terrifying. Aariz passed the first hint. "Have you ever left?" Meher asked suddenly. Aariz looked away. "Yes." "Why did you come back?" A long pause. Then, "Because I couldn't belong anywhere else." Something feels different. There was something about the way he said it. Something heavy, something unresolved. Meher noticed it. But before she could ask more, a distant sound echoed through the night. The strange sound. She froze. "Did you hear that?" Aariz's expression changed instantly. He stood up. Alert. Focused. "What was that?" she asked, her voice nervous now. He didn't answer immediately. Instead, he looked toward the trees, as if listening for something more. "It is nothing," he said finally. But it didn't sound like nothing. "Fear creeps in. Doesn't it sound like nothing?" Meher whispered. Aariz turned to her. For the first time, there was seriousness in his eyes. "Meher, there are things about this place you don't understand yet." A chill ran through her. "What kind of things?" "The warning." He stepped closer. "Not threatening, but protective." "You wanted real," he said quietly. "This is real." The wind picked up slightly. The trees moved. The night felt different now. Alive. Watching. Too late to go back. Meher's heart started beating faster. For a brief second, she thought about the road, about the van, about going back. But it was too late. They were gone, and she was here. A choice with consequences. "Are you scared?" Aariz asked. She hesitated, then nodded. A little. He didn't smile. Good. That night changed everything. The fear Meher felt didn't disappear, but neither did the strange peace inside her. Over the next few days, she slowly began to understand Aariz and the place he called home. The sounds in the night, the silence in the day, the way time moved. Differently there, it was all unfamiliar, but it felt real. Her friends kept calling, messages kept coming. Her family begged her to return, and for a moment she almost did. But every time she thought about going back, something inside her stopped her. Not because she didn't love them, but because for the first time in her life she felt like she belonged somewhere. Aariz never forced her to stay. In fact, one day he said quietly, "You can still leave, I won't stop you." Meher looked at him, then at the hills, then at the endless sky above her, and she smiled. "I know," she said, "but I don't want to." Seasons began to change. Days turned into weeks, and slowly Meher built a new life, not perfect, not easy, but honest. She learned to live without noise, to understand silence, to feel without fear. And Aariz, he wasn't just a stranger anymore. He became her home, far away from the world she once knew. Meher didn't lose herself. She finally found herself, and this time she chose to stay.